Now we're going to look at simplifying a product involving square roots where we're going to use the distributive property. So now we're all familiar with using the distributive property, right? So basically we have the square root of 7 times the quantity, 9 plus square root of 3. So what we can do is we'll take what's on the outside here, square root of 7, and we distribute it to each term inside the parentheses. Okay, so I have 9 times the square root of 7. Now 9's not inside the square root, so I'm going to rewrite that as 9 times the square root of 7. Right? That's this part right here. So that's what that distributed out to be. Now I'm going to take that square root of 7 and I'm going to distribute it to the square root of 3. So that part I get plus, I have the square root of 7 times the square root of 3. Right? So that's the second group here. Okay? I'm not quite done yet because I've got this multiplication of a square root out here, but this I can't do anything with, so I'm just going to rewrite that as 9 times the square root of 7 plus, remember in general, right, the square root of a times the square root of b equals, that all goes under the square root sign, so square root of ab. So this is the same as the square root of 7 times 3, which is 9 times the square root of 7 plus, and then this is just the square root of 21. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. We're just taking our square root term on the outside and we're distributing it to everything on the inside the parentheses. But sometimes it's not as straightforward as that. So let's take another more complicated example. And I'm going to take this 6 times the square root of 2, all times the quantity, the square root of 15 minus the square root of 2. Okay, so let's keep track of what we're doing here. We've got this term out here, and then we're multiplying it by these two terms in here. So I'm going to take my very first distribution is going to be, let's keep track of what we're doing. It's going to be 6 times the square root of 2, right, times the square root of 15. And then, so that's this first part, minus, and now I have the 6 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. Right? So let's keep track of this. I have 6 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. And that's the second distribution that I've done. Okay, so let's go ahead and work with each of these. So now I have 6 times the square root of 30 minus, I have 6, and if you don't see this right away, we'll just put that, make it 6 times the square root of 4. Okay, now we're still not done. 30 doesn't have any perfect square factors in there, so we can't, there's nothing that we can take out from under the square root. So we'll leave that as 6 times the square root of 30 minus, but 4 is a perfect square, right? So we can rewrite this as 6 times 2. So that gives us 6 times the square root of 30 minus 12. Now we can't combine anything and we can't simplify anything anymore, so this is our final answer.